Okay, here we go. It's called Bangalee. This was a favorite for a long time. Here we go. Bangalee, written by Stephen Cosgrove. In a very dusty corner of a very confused land stood a jumbled up pile of rocks and rubble called Critter Castle. All around the castle was litter of all sorts. There were tires and cans, bottles and bells, and all sorts of ugly, dirty garbage. Can you see it? That's called Critter Castle. Inside this castle of rust and ruin lived some furry little creatures called critters. See them? There's the critters. Are they being clean? No, they're pretty messy, huh? A critter was like no other animal you have ever seen. It had a short furry body and a fat furry face that was always dirty. For you see, the only things critters could do well was to be messy. They never combed their hair, never washed their faces, and you would always find their clothes in the strangest of places. Day in and day out, they would wash about the castle. They would dash about the castle, littering here and littering there. They would drop their candy wrappers, gum wrappers, newspapers anywhere they happened to be. Because of all the junk lying around, never a day would go by without one of the critters slipping or tripping on a pile of garbage. Fortunately, they would usually end up falling on a pile of discarded rags and luckily never hurt themselves. Look how messy they are. You see them throwing the trash around everywhere? They're slipping on banana peels. You see that? They slipped on a banana peel. They're throwing the garbage everywhere. Ooh, messy, messy creatures. In the middle of this castle of confusion, there was one room that was absolutely clean, sparkling clean. It was here that the cleanest of all the critters lived, and he was called Bangalee. Can you say his name? Bangalee. He was short and furry, just like all the other critters, except that his face was always clean, his hair was always combed, and you would never find him wearing dirty clothes. There he is. There's Bangalee. Look at his room. It's all clean. Bangalee. Very nice. He's even got flowers in the windows there. See that? Bangalee would constantly zip about his room, picking up his toys, putting away his clothes, and dusting every nook and cranny. He would wash the windows. Can you wash the windows? He'd wash the walls and sometimes even vacuum the halls. Can you play like you're vacuuming? Bangalee was so clean and organized that he was the one creature in the whole world who could always find that spot you always missed. There's Bangalee cleaning, dusting. Look at that, dusting the table. Hey, he's got more plants. How many more plants do you see? 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! All the other critters would just laugh and call Bangalee names because no matter where he went, he would polish the lamps and clean the chairs and wipe the windows and wash the stairs. But no sooner would he finish his chores than a whole mess of critters would walk by, kicking up dust and dirt, and poor Bangalee would have to start all over again. There you go. Look at there. Look how messy they are. He just cleaned all that. Ah! He became so frustrated that one day he stood in the middle of the castle square and called for all the critters to gather around. My fellow critters, he began when they had arrived, wouldn't it be nice to live in a neat and clean castle? Ah, boo, one of them muttered. A little litter never hurt anyone. With that, the motley group went on its way, mumbling and grumbling, leaving Bangalee a bigger mess than he had when he started. There he is. And look, they're not happy. Now, things would have gone on this way forever if it had not been for the grunk. There's the grunk. Wait, sorry. There's the grunk. Grunk, grunk, grunk. The grunk was a monstrous, garbage-eating beast who had been wandering around the countryside for many years looking for something to eat. Since Critter Castle was the junkiest place around, it was only natural that he would come here for a super big feast. I bet you his name is Grunk because that's what it sounds like when he eats. Grunk, grunk, grunk. Can you do that? Go grunk, grunk, grunk. When the critters caught sight of the Grunk, they ran inside the castle and quickly tried to raise the drawbridge, but there was so much garbage in the way they could only get it half closed. Do you see? They can't get it closed all the way. You see the drawbridge? They can't get it closed all the way, and there's the Grunk. Grunk, grunk. Fortunately, there was so much litter outside that the Grunk began to eat it first. He ate some tires that had sat there so long, and he even ate a bell that had lost its gong. You see him eating the tire? There's the tire. Oh, what are we to do? They cried. The Grunk eats junk and we're so dirty that he'll probably eat us too. They began running here and there, looking for some place to hide, but no matter where they looked, there was garbage and litter and no safe place to hide. Finally, Bangalee came forward and said, I think I have a plan that will save us from the Grunk. With muddy tears streaming down their eyes, the critters all gathered around. The only thing the Grunk wants is junk. If we clean up our rooms and clean up the streets and throw all the garbage outside for the Grunk to eat, then he will have no reason to come inside the castle and we will be safe. There they are. You see them? They're all gathered together. Listen to Bangalee, and there's the Grunk. Grunk, grunk, grunk. The critters agreed and set out to clean the castle. They picked up the paper, the bottles, the cans that were lying on the ground, and then they washed the walls that were dirty and brown. They picked up the toys in their room and hung up their clothes, then washed off the street by using a hose. Load after load of garbage was thrown out of the castle to the waiting Grunk. Finally, there wasn't a speck of garbage or litter left in the rooms or in the square. For the first time in many, many years, the castle was clean. You see them all working? There they are. What's he doing? Sweeping. What's he doing? Wiping the walls. What's she doing? Yeah, wiping the walls. What's she doing? She's picking up the litter. What's he doing? Yeah, mopping the floor. Look at that. Look at that. Woo! Spick and span. Gotta turn the page. That Grunk had never seen so much junk. He ate the dirt, the rags, the newspapers all, and he even ate an old rubber ball. When he had eaten all there was to eat, he sniffed and sniffed, but there just wasn't any more. With a belch and a burp, he lumbered away from the castle in search of more garbage and junk. There goes the Grunk. Bye, Grunk. See ya. The critters all shouted and cheered, hooray! As the Grunk disappeared. Then they stopped and looked around. The castle, which had been so junky and messy, was now so clean that it sparkled in the afternoon sun. If the castle can look so good after being cleaned up, maybe if you all took a bath, you could feel just as good, suggested Bangalee. The critters looked at each other covered with dust and grime and proclaimed that from this day forth, dirt would be a crime. So all the critters from the very old to the very young took a hot soapy bath and got clean to the bone. To this very day, Critter Castle is clean and junky old Grunk has never been seen again. You see them scrubbing? Scrub a tub, three critters in a tub. That sounds like fun. So, if your room is messy and cluttered with lots of junk, better clean up your room like Bangalee, because here comes the Grunk. Grunk, 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 grunk. And that's the end of the story. All right, was that fun? I hope you enjoyed it. Can you do me a picture of the Grunk? Grunk, 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 grunk. Bangalee. Bye-bye. Love you.